Leo pressed his face close to the spaceship window, staring at the alien planet below. The sight made his chest tighten with wonder. The planet was called Zyra, and it was unlike anything he had ever studied before. Floating islands drifted above silver clouds, glowing rivers sparkled like liquid light, and forests shimmered with colors his eyes had never known existed. "This place," he whispered. "It feels alive." Leo's mission was supposed to be simple: land, study the air and soil, record information, and return home. Yet, as his ship touched down on a glowing platform high above the forests, he sensed something deeper. His footsteps echoed softly when he stepped outside, and the air hummed with strange energy, as if the very world was watching him. He took a careful breath. The air smelled fresh, almost sweet. Towers of crystal rose in the distance, connected by delicate bridges of light. But the city seemed strangely quiet. "Where is everyone?" Leo muttered to himself. A voice answered. "Here." Leo spun around. His breath caught in his throat. A young woman stood only a few steps away. She was unlike anyone he had seen before. Her skin had a faint shimmer, like starlight caught in water. Her eyes glowed with a deep teal blue, calm yet endlessly curious. Long strands of hair flowed around her shoulders, as though moved by invisible winds. She wore a flowing garment that reflected the soft glow of the city, simple but regal. Leo froze. I didn't mean to intrude. I'm Leo, a researcher from Earth." The woman smiled gently. "I am Nara, daughter of Zyra's royal house. You stand in my city, human traveler. Few outsiders are allowed here." Leo bowed slightly, awkward but sincere. "I only wanted to learn. I mean no harm." Nara tilted her head, studying him. "Your heart speaks truth. Still, this place can be dangerous for those who do not belong." For a moment, Leo forgot his words. He had read about aliens in books and heard tales from other explorers, but standing here face to face with the princess was beyond anything he had imagined. She carried herself with quiet strength, yet her presence was kind, almost inviting. Gathering courage, he asked softly, "Would you show me your city?" Her eyes brightened, and a small smile appeared. "That depends. Are you ready to see Zyra not as a visitor, but as one who listens?" "Yes," Leo said at once. "I want to learn everything." "Then follow me," Nara replied. They walked together across the shining bridges. Strange plants with crystal-like leaves swayed in rhythm with the air. Small winged creatures like glowing birds fluttered around them, leaving trails of silver sparks. Waterfalls rose upward into the sky, scattering into clouds that glittered in sunlight. Leo could hardly take it all in. "Your world is beautiful," he whispered. Nara looked out over the glowing forests. "It is. But beauty is not the whole truth. Even Zyra has shadows." There was a softness in her tone, a quiet sadness. Leo glanced at her carefully. "Do you ever wish to see beyond this world?" Her eyes widened. She hesitated before answering. "Yes. I dream of traveling the stars, meeting others, walking on distant soil. But my duty binds me here. A princess does not choose so easily." Leo's heart pounded. Without thinking, he said, "Maybe one day you will. Maybe I could help you see it." To his surprise, Nara laughed gently. The sound was light, like wind chimes in the air. "You speak boldly, Leo. Few would speak so freely to a princess." They stopped at a high platform overlooking the forests below. Rivers of light flowed like silver veins, and trees sparkled in the alien sun. The sight stole Leo's breath. "This world feels alive," he said softly. "It is," Nara replied. Her voice lowered, almost like a secret. "Sometimes, the planet chooses who may see its true face. Perhaps it has chosen you." A warmth spread in Leo's chest. He wanted to tell her what he felt, the strange pull in his heart, but his voice failed him. Still, he could not look away from her calm, shining eyes. "Leo," Nara said suddenly, her gaze firm but gentle. "You must be careful. Life here is not like life on your earth. Be wise with your steps and with your heart." Leo swallowed. "I'll try." Together, they stood in silence, watching the horizon as Zyra's sun sank behind the floating islands. The sky turned shades of rose and gold, and tiny stars began to glow above. For Leo, it felt like the most magical moment of his life. And then, without meaning to, the words escaped his lips in a whisper meant only for himself, "I wish I could marry her." But Nara heard. She turned her head, her teal blue eyes shining softly, and the faintest smile curved her lips. Neither of them spoke again. Yet in that quiet moment, something had already begun between them. Something that would change both their worlds. The next morning, Leo woke to the soft hum of Zyra's floating city. His small research ship rested on the glowing platform, but his thoughts were not on samples or air readings. His mind was filled with Nara, the alien princess who had welcomed him with quiet kindness. He stepped outside, and the city was alive in a new way. Crystalline towers reflected the rising sun, sending streams of color into the sky. Strange plants along the streets bloomed as if waking from sleep, their translucent petals opening slowly. Leo had never seen anything so peaceful. Then he heard footsteps. Turning, he saw Nara approaching. Her long hair floated as though weightless, catching the morning light. She carried no guards, no attendants, only herself. "You are awake early," she said, smiling. "I couldn't sleep much," Leo admitted. "Your world is too beautiful. I feel like I'll miss something if I close my eyes." Nara tilted her head, amused. "That is how I felt the first time I saw your ship land. You brought something new with you, Leo." They began walking together through the city. Leo noticed how the streets slowly filled with people, tall, graceful beings like Nara, their eyes glowing faintly. Some looked at Leo with open curiosity, while others frowned and whispered among themselves. He felt their unease but said nothing. Nara noticed too. "Do not worry about their stares. Outsiders are rare here. Many fear what they do not know." Leo nodded, though the weight of their eyes pressed on him. "I just want to learn, not cause trouble." "You are not trouble," Nara said softly. "You are different. And sometimes, different is exactly what is needed." Her words calmed him, and they continued toward the heart of the city. The market of Zyra spread out like a living rainbow. Stalls floated above the ground, each glowing faintly. Merchants offered fruits that shimmered like gems, fabrics that shifted color as they moved, and crystals that sang with faint tones when touched. The air was full of scents, sweet, sharp, and utterly alien. Nara guided Leo carefully. She explained each item with patience, her voice warm. "This fruit grows only under the silver rivers. It carries the taste of 3 seasons at once. And this crystal, when placed in water, it can heal small wounds." Leo listened intently, fascinated. He asked simple questions, and she answered with quiet pride. As they spoke, a small child from the crowd ran forward, staring at Leo's human face. The child laughed and touched his hand, then ran back to her family. The parents smiled nervously, pulling the child close. Leo chuckled. "At least one person here doesn't find me strange." Nara's eyes sparkled. "Children often see more clearly than adults." Later, Nara led him to a garden that floated above the city. Its paths were made of light, winding between giant blossoms that glowed like lanterns. The air was filled with soft music, though no instrument was visible. "This is my favorite place," Nara said. "When my duties become heavy, I come here to breathe." Leo followed her to a quiet spot overlooking the forests below. They sat together, the silence between them calm and easy. Back on Earth, Leo said slowly, we have gardens too. But they're small compared to this. Sometimes I would sit and wonder if other worlds had places just as peaceful. And now, I'm here with you. Nara turned toward him, her teal blue eyes reflecting the glow of the blossoms. And what do you think now, human traveler? I think, Leo said carefully, that I was meant to see this with you. For a moment, Nara did not answer. She simply looked at him, her expression unreadable but gentle. Then she smiled. You speak with honesty, Leo. I like that. Their friendship grew quickly in the following days. Nara introduced him to more of her people, artists, scholars, and even healers who studied the living energy of Zyra. Leo, in turn, told her about Earth, its oceans, its mountains, its countless cultures. She listened with wide eyes, especially when he described the sea. An endless water, stretching farther than the eye can see, she asked, amazed. Yes, Leo said, smiling at her wonder. And when the waves rise in storms, it feels like the whole planet is alive. Nara laughed softly. Perhaps one day, I will see it myself. But not everyone welcomed their closeness. In the council chambers above the city, whispers spread. Some elders spoke of danger, of imbalance, of allowing a human into their world. Leo did not know it yet, but his presence was already stirring arguments among Zyra's rulers. That evening, as the sky turned silver with the glow of two moons, Leo and Nara stood again at the high platform overlooking the forests. The glowing rivers stretched far into the horizon, a vision so unreal that Leo wondered if he was dreaming. You have given me much, Leo said quietly. Time, knowledge, even friendship. I don't know how to thank you. Nara's gaze softened. You have given me something as well, Leo. You have reminded me that even a princess may still dream. They stood side by side, silent under the alien moons. The distance between their worlds felt smaller now, bridged by simple words, shared laughter, and trust. And though neither of them spoke it aloud, both knew their bond was already stronger than either had expected. The days passed quickly for Leo on Zyra. Every morning, he woke to the strange glow of the alien skies, and every evening, he found himself walking beside Nara. Their bond deepened, built on quiet talks, laughter, and shared wonder. But beneath the beauty of the city, tension was slowly rising. One afternoon, while Leo studied the crystal towers, Nara arrived with a troubled look. Her usual calm smile was absent. What's wrong? Leo asked. The council has called a meeting, she said softly. They wish to speak about you. Leo's chest tightened. He had seen the wary glances from some of the people. He had hoped time would soften their doubt, but it seemed suspicion had only grown stronger. Inside the council hall, the air felt heavy. 12 elders sat in a circle, their robes shimmering faintly. Their eyes, glowing with different shades of blue, studied Leo as if weighing his very soul. An elder with silver hair spoke first. Human traveler, you entered our city without invitation. You walk with our princess as if you belong. Do you think this is wise? Leo swallowed, standing tall. I came to study your world, not to cause harm. If I have offended, I am sorry. Another elder leaned forward. Humans are unpredictable. Your people seek to expand, to take. How do we know you are different? Before Leo could answer, Nara stepped forward. He is different. He listens. He learns. He respects Zyra. Her voice carried strength, though her hands trembled slightly at her sides. If you doubt him, then you doubt me as well. Murmurs filled the chamber. Leo's heart pounded. Nara was defending him openly before her own people, an act that carried weight. The silver-haired elder raised a hand. We shall not judge by words alone. Let actions prove his heart. If this human wishes to stay, he must show us his worth. Leo nodded firmly. I will. The test came sooner than he expected. That very evening, the city shook with sudden tremors. Crystals cracked, and glowing bridges flickered dangerously. Alarms rang across Zyra. Nara gasped, looking toward the horizon. The energy fields are shifting, she explained quickly. When they become unstable, the city itself can fall. Without hesitation, Leo ran with her toward the edge of the city. He saw bridges swaying, people struggling to cross safely. Without thinking, he dashed forward, steadying a group of children as they tried to escape. His hands gripped the glowing rails, his muscles straining, but he guided them across one by one. Go, he shouted, urging them toward safety. Nara rushed to help the others, her calm voice guiding the frightened citizens. Together, she and Leo moved from bridge to bridge, saving as many as they could. At one point, a large crystal shard broke loose, falling toward the platform below. Leo saw a young boy frozen in fear under it. Without a thought, Leo leaped forward, shoving the boy aside just as the shard crashed down. The ground shook, dust rising around him. When the trembling finally stopped, silence fell. Slowly, the people began to cheer. The child's parents embraced him, looking at Leo with grateful eyes. For the first time, the suspicion in their gazes softened. Nara placed a hand on Leo's shoulder, her teal blue eyes filled with quiet pride. You risked yourself for one of my people. The council cannot ignore this. Leo, still catching his breath, smiled weakly. I didn't think. I just acted. Sometimes, Nara whispered, that is the truest proof of heart. Later that night, the council gathered once more. The elders sat in silence before the people. The silver-haired elder finally spoke. This human has shown courage. He acted not for himself, but for others. Though he is not of Zyra, his heart does not waver. We will permit him to remain for now. A mixture of relief and tension spread through the crowd. Leo bowed his head, thankful. But not all were pleased. In the shadows of the hall, two council members whispered together. Their eyes held suspicion still, and their voices carried warning. He grows close to the princess. This could change more than we wish. Then perhaps, we must act before it is too late. Their quiet plotting went unheard by Leo or Nara, but the seeds of trouble were already sown. That evening, Nara led Leo to the garden of glowing blossoms once more. The air was calm, filled with soft music from the singing crystals. They sat together beneath a wide flower that shimmered like the moon. You surprised everyone today, Nara said, her voice gentle. Even me. Leo chuckled. I didn't feel brave. I just didn't want anyone to be hurt. That is what makes it real bravery, she replied softly. To act without thought of reward. They sat in silence for a moment, the glow of the blossoms surrounding them. Then Nara turned to him, her expression softer than ever. Leo, there is something I must tell you. I have never met someone who made me question the boundaries of my world. But you make me wonder if those boundaries are meant to be crossed. Leo's heart raced. He wanted to speak, to tell her how much she already meant to him. But he held back, afraid of breaking the fragile balance between them. Instead, he said simply, whatever comes, I will stand with you. Nara's eyes shone as she whispered, and I with you. The two sat together in the glowing garden, unaware that far above, the council's decision was not the end of their trials. It was only the beginning. The days after the city tremors passed peacefully, but the air held a subtle tension. Leo could feel it in the streets, in the quiet whispers of the citizens, and even in Nara's gentle glances. Though the council had allowed him to remain, some still doubted him. Leo tried to focus on his research, but his curiosity often drew him toward Nara, whose presence had become as comforting as the glow of Zyra's rivers. One morning, Nara approached him with an unusual sparkle in her teal blue eyes. Leo, she said softly, there is something I must show you. It is part of our history, something not everyone may know. Intrigued, Leo followed her through narrow streets that twisted between floating towers. The city seemed quieter than usual, the light reflecting softly off crystal surfaces. They arrived at a hidden library, one that hovered above the city, surrounded by streams of glowing water. Inside, shelves of crystal tablets stretched high. Each tablet pulsed faintly with light, as if holding life within. Nara led him to one particular tablet, larger and brighter than the rest. This tablet holds a prophecy, she explained. It speaks of a union between two different worlds, one human, one Zyra. It says that together, they can bring harmony and change, but only if their hearts are true and unselfish. Leo's eyes widened. A prophecy? About me? Nara shook her head gently. Not about you alone. About someone from your kind and someone from mine. The prophecy has waited for the right time. Perhaps it is now. He ran his fingers lightly over the glowing surface. The words shimmered, almost alive, but he could not fully read them. Still, the meaning was clear. Humans and Zyra's citizens could create a bond that would affect more than just themselves. This is incredible, Leo whispered. I never imagined anything like this. Nara placed a hand on his arm, warmth in her touch. I believe in the heart that chooses selflessness. You have already shown courage and care, Leo. The prophecy may be more than words. Later, they walked through the floating gardens, a favorite place for Nara when she sought peace. Strange flowers shimmered under their feet, and soft streams of light curved around them. Leo found himself telling Nara more about Earth, its mountains, forests, and cities. You have seen many worlds in your books, Nara said. Yet Earth, it seems alive, full of wonder, much like Zyra. Yes, Leo agreed. But nothing compares to seeing it with someone who cares. That is why I wanted to share it with you. Nara's smile was soft, almost shy. Leo. I feel the same. You have opened my eyes to possibilities I never thought I could have. You make me question everything I have known. Leo's chest tightened. The words hung in the air between them, heavy and gentle. He wanted to tell her what he truly felt, yet something in his mind whispered to wait. The council's eyes, the city's whispers, they were still shadows hovering above their happiness. That evening, Leo returned to his ship to record his findings. As he worked, Nara appeared at the entrance. She carried a small crystal in her hand, glowing faintly with the soft light of Zyra. This is a gift, she said. It belonged to my mother. She once believed that courage and honesty could change hearts, even when all else fails. I want you to have it, Leo. So you remember, trust is powerful. Leo took it carefully, feeling its warmth. Thank you, Nara. I will treasure it always. You have already proven yourself, she said. But the council, not all of them trust easily. And not all will accept a human in our world. You must be careful. Leo nodded. I will. I promise. For you, and for Zyra. That night, Leo could not sleep. He held the glowing crystal, thinking of the prophecy and the bond growing between him and Nara. The city outside shimmered in quiet beauty, and the air felt alive, as if it understood the unspoken words between them. A soft knock came at his door. Nara stepped inside, her eyes glimmering with concern and determination. Leo, she whispered, I want to tell you something else. Some of the council members do not want this to happen. They fear the prophecy, fear the change it may bring. I think they may try to separate us, even if it means harming the city's peace. Leo's heart clenched. Then we must be ready. Whatever comes, we will face it together. Nara smiled faintly, a mixture of hope and worry. Yes. Together. They stood in silence for a while, watching the glowing forest stretch endlessly below. Though danger loomed, neither of them felt fear as long as they were side by side. They knew their connection was stronger than any shadow of doubt. Leo whispered softly, almost to himself, "I will protect you, Nara. Always." Her hand brushed his, warm and firm. "And I will stand by you, Leo. Whatever comes next, we face it together." For the first time, they both understood the meaning of the prophecy, not just words of ancient prediction, but a promise of courage, trust, and love that could unite two worlds. And in that quiet, glowing library, surrounded by light and whispers of old wisdom, the bond between human and princess grew stronger, ready to face the trials that were surely coming. The morning sun of Zyra bathed the city in soft, golden light. Leo felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today was the day he would face the challenge set by the council, a test to prove his worthiness and loyalty to the people of Zyra. Though he had shown courage before, this test was different. It would examine his mind, his heart, and his courage in ways he could not yet imagine. Nara met him at the entrance to the trial grounds. Her teal-blue eyes shone with quiet encouragement, and her presence calmed his racing thoughts. "You are ready," she said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Trust yourself, Leo. I will be with you in spirit, guiding you as I can." Leo nodded, feeling the warmth of her words. "I won't let you or your world down." They approached a floating platform suspended high above the city. It led to a labyrinth of shimmering energy barriers, twisting paths, and floating bridges. The challenge was clear: navigate the labyrinth, solve the puzzles, and overcome its hazards. A council elder spoke solemnly. "Leo, the labyrinth will test more than your mind. It will test your spirit. Only one with courage and honesty will succeed. Remember, your actions reflect not just on yourself, but on the human world as well." Leo took a deep breath and stepped forward. The labyrinth was a marvel and a danger all at once. Paths of light shifted beneath his feet, and walls of energy rose and fell unpredictably. Strange creatures, harmless yet startling, flitted across the corridors. Some paths seemed endless, others looped back unexpectedly. Leo quickly realized that relying on strength alone would not succeed. He had to observe, think, and trust his instincts. As he moved deeper, he encountered the first puzzle, a series of floating symbols that glowed faintly. Each symbol responded to his touch with a soft hum. He remembered Nara's words about trust and honesty. Carefully, he followed the pattern of light and sound, aligning the symbols in the correct order. The pathway ahead opened, a clear bridge forming as he stepped forward. "Good," a voice echoed softly, not from the council, but almost as if the labyrinth itself approved. Leo felt a flicker of encouragement and moved on. Deeper in the labyrinth, a gap opened in the path, wide enough to make even a brave person hesitate. Below, streams of glowing liquid moved unpredictably. Leo could jump and land on smaller floating platforms, but one wrong step could send him falling into the swirling light. He paused, assessing the distance, the angles, and the timing. Then he remembered Nara's small gestures during their walks, the way she had shown him shortcuts in the city, subtle hints that guided without giving the answer. He imagined her beside him, her hand steadying his courage. Step by step, he leaped across the platforms, timing his jumps carefully. The labyrinth tried to shake his focus, but he kept moving, trusting his instincts. When he reached the other side, his chest heaved, but a sense of triumph filled him. The final challenge was the most personal. A room of mirrors reflected his image endlessly, but in each reflection, he saw something different: fear, doubt, hesitation. The labyrinth was asking him to face himself, to recognize his weaknesses and still move forward. Leo closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He thought of Nara, of the people of Zyra, and of the promise he had made, to protect them, to act with honesty, and to trust in his own courage. Opening his eyes, he walked forward steadily, each step confident. The reflections shimmered, then faded, and a doorway of glowing light appeared. At the end of the labyrinth, he found Nara waiting. She smiled, her eyes filled with pride and relief. "You did it," she said softly. "You have shown bravery, wisdom, and a pure heart. The council will have no choice but to see your worth." Leo exhaled, feeling both exhaustion and exhilaration. "I couldn't have done it without thinking of you," he admitted. Nara's smile widened. "You did this for yourself, Leo." "But yes. I was here in spirit." When they returned to the city, the council was waiting. Word of his success had already spread, and the citizens gathered to witness the outcome. The elders rose in acknowledgement. "Leo has passed the trial," the silver-haired elder declared. "He has proven his courage, his honesty, and his loyalty. A human can indeed walk among us not as a visitor, but as an ally and friend." The crowd erupted in applause. Even those who had doubted him now looked on with respect. Leo felt a surge of pride, but more importantly, he felt the quiet strength of Nara beside him. As the ceremony ended, Nara took his hand. "You have done more than prove yourself to the council, Leo. You have proven it to me, and to all of Zyra. Your heart is true." Leo smiled, feeling warmth that no challenge could diminish. "And I will continue to prove it, every day, if it means standing by your side." She squeezed his hand gently. "Then whatever comes next, we will face it together." The sun set over the floating city, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. Above them, the glowing towers and streams of light reflected hope. Leo and Nara stood together, stronger than ever, ready for whatever trials the future might hold. The glow of Zyra's twin moons lit the city that evening, casting silver reflections across the crystal towers. Leo and Nara stood together on a high platform overlooking the floating gardens, their hands brushing gently as they watched the city below. The trial was over, but the council's final decision still lingered. Today, they would speak, not just of rules or prophecy, but of the bond between a human and a princess. Nara turned to him, her teal blue eyes shining. "Leo, you have proven yourself in every way. But the council will want to hear your words directly. You must speak from your heart." Leo nodded, swallowing the tightness in his throat. "I will. I hope they understand." "They will, if your heart is true," she replied softly. The council chambers were more crowded than ever. Citizens of Zyra filled the floating platforms, curious and cautious. The elders sat in a circle, their robes glowing faintly in the soft light. Leo stepped forward, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon him. The silver-haired elder spoke first. "Human traveler, you have completed the trial, saved our people, and shown courage and honesty. Yet this council must hear your words. Speak freely, and let your heart guide you." Leo drew a deep breath. He thought of the labyrinth, the trembling city, and the quiet moments he had shared with Nara. Most importantly, he thought of her, the princess who had trusted him, guided him, and stood beside him through uncertainty. "My name is Leo," he began, his voice steady. "I came to Zyra to learn, to study, and to understand. I never expected to meet someone like Nara. She is kind, brave, and wise beyond her years. And I have learned that our worlds, though different, can be stronger together." He paused, letting his words sink in. The council watched silently, some leaning forward, others frowning thoughtfully. "I do not ask for permission lightly," Leo continued. "I do not wish to break tradition or disrespect your customs. I only wish to show my heart, my respect, my admiration, and my love for Nara. Whatever happens, I promise to protect her, honor her, and stand with her always." A hush fell over the chamber. Citizens whispered quietly among themselves, unsure how to respond. Then, Nara stepped forward. Her voice rang clear and strong. "Council of Zyra, I speak not just as a princess, but as someone who has seen the heart of a human. Leo is brave, honest, and kind. He has proven his loyalty, not through words alone, but through actions that saved our people. I choose him, not because of prophecy or challenge, but because of his heart. I choose him for his courage, his sincerity, and his love. Some elders blinked, taken aback by her boldness. Murmurs spread among the citizens. Yet even in the silence of surprise, there was a sense of awe. This princess, standing firm in her choice, showing courage that matched any trial. The silver-haired elder finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. Your words are heard, Princess Nara. And yours, human, Leo. You have both shown that courage and love can unite worlds. The council acknowledges your choice. A collective sigh of relief passed through the chamber. Citizens cheered softly, some clapping, others bowing their heads in respect. The elders nodded in approval, their earlier doubts giving way to recognition of bravery and truth. Leo felt a wave of gratitude. He turned to Nara, who smiled at him, eyes bright with trust and pride. We did it, he whispered. Together, she replied. That evening, they returned to the floating gardens, a place that had become their quiet refuge. The city below shimmered, rivers of light flowing like silver threads. Stars reflected in the calm waters of the floating ponds. Leo and Nara walked slowly, hand in hand, their hearts light but steady. You spoke beautifully, Nara said softly. I knew your heart would guide you, but your courage today, it has made everything real. Leo shook his head with a laugh. I only spoke what I felt. You made it easier by standing beside me. Nara's gaze softened. You have taught me something too, Leo. That courage is not only in battle or trials, but in speaking the truth of one's heart, even when the world is watching. They paused on a bridge of light, the glowing city beneath reflecting their images. Leo took a deep breath. I wish I could marry you, he whispered. Nara's smile was gentle, her eyes shining with a quiet certainty. My answer is yes. The words hung in the air like music, filling the floating gardens with hope. Citizens below could see the bond between them, the strength and honesty that had won hearts across Zyra. In that moment, it was not just the love of two beings from different worlds, it was a symbol of unity, courage, and the power of a heart guided by truth. Leo squeezed her hand, feeling a warmth that no trial, no prophecy, and no challenge could ever diminish. Together, they looked out over the glowing city, ready to face whatever adventures the future might hold, knowing that their hearts had already found home in one another. The day of the ceremony arrived, and Zyra shimmered like never before. Floating bridges glowed brighter, crystal towers reflected the sun in dazzling patterns, and the forests below sparkled with energy. Citizens of Zyra gathered, along with a few human representatives who had traveled through space to witness the historic moment. The air buzzed with excitement and hope. Leo stood beside Nara at the top of the highest platform, overlooking the city and the floating gardens that had become their sanctuary. He adjusted his simple attire, feeling the weight of the moment. Every trial, every challenge, every quiet moment of trust had led to this day. Nara turned to him, her teal blue eyes shining with warmth. Leo, today is not just about us. It is about what we represent, two worlds, together in respect and friendship. Are you ready? Leo took a deep breath. Yes. Ready for whatever comes next. With you. The council elders stepped forward, their robes shimmering in soft light. The silver-haired elder raised a hand to address the crowd. People of Zyra, he began, today we witness a union not only of hearts, but of worlds. Leo, a human, has shown courage, honesty, and respect for our people. Princess Nara has chosen him, guided by her heart and wisdom. Let this day be remembered as a moment of unity, hope, and friendship. Citizens cheered, some raising hands in applause, others bowing their heads in respect. Leo felt a mixture of pride, joy, and nervous excitement. Nara's hand found his, grounding him in the present. The ceremony itself was simple yet powerful. No unnecessary extravagance, only symbols that mattered. A circle of glowing crystals surrounded them, representing the light and life of Zyra. A stream of silvery water flowed beneath, connecting the floating gardens like a river of unity. The silver-haired elder spoke words of blessing. May your bond strengthen the hearts of all who see it. May it inspire courage, honesty, and friendship between our worlds. And may your love continue to shine, as brightly as the stars above. Leo turned to Nara, feeling the weight and beauty of the moment. Nara, I promise to honor you, to protect you, and to stand by you always. No matter the trials, no matter the challenges, my heart is yours. Nara smiled, her eyes glowing softly. And I promise the same, Leo. You have shown me courage, honesty, and a heart worthy of trust. Together, we will face whatever comes, not just for us, but for all who believe in unity. The citizens cheered louder, and some floated upward in celebration, their glowing forms forming arcs of light across the city. It was a celebration of love, yes, but also of hope, bravery, and the possibility of bridging worlds. As the ceremony concluded, Leo and Nara walked together along a floating bridge that led over the glowing forests. The city beneath them hummed softly, alive and vibrant. Leo took a deep breath, letting the peace of the moment fill him. You know, he said softly, I never imagined my mission to Zyra would lead to this. Nara laughed quietly. Neither did I. Yet here we are. It seems the universe has a way of guiding hearts to the right place, at the right time. Leo turned to her, a smile in his eyes. I wish I could marry you, he whispered again, the words now full of certainty. Nara's smile was gentle, confident, and full of love. My answer is yes, she replied, her voice soft but strong. They walked hand in hand, their steps light but sure, feeling the bond between them grow stronger with each passing moment. Around them, the city of Zyra glowed as if celebrating their union, a living witness to the courage, honesty, and love that had brought them together. In the days that followed, Leo and Nara's marriage became more than a ceremony. It became a symbol of hope for humans and Zyra's citizens alike. Stories of their bravery, honesty, and trust spread across the planet and beyond. Other worlds began to take notice, inspired by the courage of a human and a princess who had chosen love and unity over fear and doubt. Leo continued his research, exploring Zyra with new understanding and respect. Nara, meanwhile, guided her people with renewed energy, knowing that together, they could face any challenge. Evenings were often spent in the glowing gardens, where rivers of light wound around them and strange flowers shimmered under the alien moons. Here, they shared quiet moments, speaking of dreams, hopes, and the adventures still to come. And though the prophecy had foretold their union, it was not fate alone that had brought them together. It was courage, honesty, love, and the willingness to stand for each other that had truly united their worlds. Leo whispered once more, holding Nara close. No matter where we go, or what comes next, I will always be with you. Nara rested her head on his shoulder, eyes reflecting the glowing forests below. And I with you. Always. Above them, the twin moons of Zyra shone brightly, a silent witness to a promise kept, a bond sealed, and a new future begun, a future where two worlds stood together, stronger for the love and courage of one human and one princess.